Assalamu alaikum. This is Btv-Chakraborty welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Interim government committed to holding free, fair and peaceful elections, says Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus. Candidates submit nomination papers on last day for 13th National Parliament elections in festive mode. Third day of testimony of investigation officer in murder case of Abu Said completed. Next testimony on January 6th. Medals awarded to 72 in recognition of meritorious service and to honor gallantry freedom fighters on occasion of BGV Day. Dhaka International Trade Fair with 324 stalls from home and abroad to begin in Purbanchal on 1st January. Positive progress in peace plan to end Ukraine war, says US President Trump and Ukrainian counterpart Zelensky. And Rangpur Riders beat Chattogram Royals by 7 wickets in BPL cricket at Sylhet. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. Ambassador Tracy Ann Jacobson, the charge d'affaires of the United States to Bangladesh, paid a farewell call on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus at the State Guest House, Jamuna, today. During the meeting, they discussed the upcoming February parliamentary elections and referendum, as well as trade, civil aviation, labor reforms initiated by the interim government and overall bilateral relations between the two countries. Tracy Ann Jacobson, who is returning home after an eventful year in Bangladesh, appreciated the leadership of the chief advisor over the past 17 months and reiterated the support of the United States government for the February elections. The chief advisor reaffirmed his government's commitment to holding free, fair, and peaceful elections, adding that full preparations were underway to ensure the success of both the parliamentary elections and the referendum. The U.S. charge d'affaires lauded the reforms undertaken by the interim government and in particular praised the truly remarkable and extraordinary labor laws, saying they would help attract greater foreign direct investment to Bangladesh. She also commended the interim government for withdrawing 45 of the 46 cases that had been filed against the country's labor leaders under previous governments. In response, the chief advisor described the new labor ordinance as an excellent piece of legislation, adding that leading Bangladeshi labor activists have publicly welcomed the reforms and the ratification of International Labour Organization (ILO) conventions by the interim government. They also discussed funding for Rohingya humanitarian assistance. Chief Advisor thanked the United States for continued support for the Rohingyas. Security Advisor Dr. Khalil Rahman and SDG Coordinator and Senior Secretary Lamia Morshed were also present at the meeting. Nomination papers have been submitted for BNP Chairperson Khaleda Zia in the Feni 1 constituency for the 13th National Parliamentary election. In addition, nomination papers of the candidates from different constituencies of Dhaka were submitted at the Dhaka Divisional Commissioner's Office in Kakrail. On the final day of nomination submission today, Abdul Salam, Chief Election Coordinator, submitted the nomination papers on behalf of BNP Acting Chairman Tariq Rahman for the Dhaka 17 constituency to returning officer Sharaf Uddin Ahmed Chaudhary. Earlier, Barrister Ahmed bin Qasim Arman, the Jamaat-nominated candidate for the Dhaka 14 constituency, submitted his nomination papers. Nomination papers were also submitted by SM Jahangir for Dhaka 18, Labour Party Chairman Mustafizur Rahman Iran for Dhaka 7, and Tanveer Ahmed Robin for Dhaka 4, along with other candidates of the BNP Jamaat Alliance in their respective constituencies. Today, BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir submitted his nomination papers for the Thakurgaon 1 constituency, while Jamaat Secretary General Mia Ghulam Parwar submitted his nomination papers for the Kunla 3 constituency. Candidates have submitted their nomination papers for the 13th National Parliament election in a festive atmosphere in Chattogram today. 226 candidates and their representatives of all parties participating in the elections, including Jamaat-e-Islami, BNP, and their alliance partners from 16 constituencies in Chattogram, submitted their nomination papers in a festive mood. They collected the nomination papers from Chattogram District Administration Office from the announcement of the schedule on December 11th till Sunday. The relevant officials of the Chattogram District Administration and the Election Office completed the process of submitting the nomination forms of the candidates in an orderly manner. After the submission of nominations, the selection of nomination papers will be done from tomorrow to January 6, 2026. The time for filing an appeal against the decision of the returning officer is from January 5th to January 9th. The last date for withdrawal of candidacy is January 20th, and the election campaign will start on January 22nd. The International Crimes Tribunal was scheduled 6th January for the next round of testimony of Ruhul Amin, the investigation officer in the murder case of Abu Said, the first martyr of the July mass uprising. The order was issued today by International Crimes Tribunal 2, led by Justice Nozrul Islam Chaudhary, after the conclusion of the third day of testimony. Following this, defense lawyers will cross-examine the investigation officer. Meanwhile, in the same tribunal, proceedings in the case filed against 7 individuals, including Band Awami League's General Secretary Obaidul Qadir, whose party's activities are currently banned for crimes against humanity during the July massacre, did not take place today, as the tribunal did not receive a complete warrant execution report. Earlier, on 18th December, the tribunal took cognizance of the charges against the 7 accused and issued arrest warrants. Earlier in the morning, 6 of the 30 accused in the Abu Said murder case, who are currently in custody, were produced before the tribunal. A ceremony was held today to award medals in recognition of meritorious service and to honor gallantry freedom fighters on the occasion of BGB Day. The event took place this morning at Pilkhana in the capital. Home Advisor retired Lieutenant General Jahangir Alam Chaudhary attended the function as the chief guest. At the ceremony, a total of 72 BGP members were awarded various medals for outstanding service. Of them, 12 received the Border Guard Bangladesh Medal, 24 the President's Border Guard Medal, 12 the Border Guard Bangladesh Service Medal, and 24 received the President's Border Guard Service Medal. Besides, the Home Advisor accorded receptions to gallantry BGB freedom fighters and their family members, presenting them with honors and gift items. The 30th Dhaka International Trade Fair will begin on 1st January at the Bangladesh-China Friendship Exhibition Center in Purvachal. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus will inaugurate the fair. The announcement was made at the press conference this morning at the exhibition center. Commerce Secretary Mahbubur Rahman briefed the media on the arrangements for Dhaka International Trade Fair. Export Promotion Bureau Vice Chairman Hassan Arif and Director General Baby Rani Kormakar were also present at the press conference. The Commerce Secretary said a total of 324 local and foreign stalls have been allocated for this year's fair. He also said that the use of polythene bags and single-use plastic products have been banned at the fair. As an alternative, eco-friendly shopping bags will be supplied at low cost through the Ministry of Textiles and Jute, added the Commerce Secretary. This year, exhibitors from 6 countries, India, Turkey, Indonesia, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Singapore will participate in the fair. Entry tickets have been priced at 50 taka for adults and 25 taka for children under the age of 12. However, freedom fighters, persons with disabilities, and those injured in the July movement will be allowed free entry upon showing valid identification cards. The fair will remain open daily from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., while on weekly holidays it will stay open until 10 p.m. Former news editor of Bangladesh television BTV, Mohammed Mainuddin, passed away today while undergoing treatment at a hospital in the capital. Inna ilahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. He was 60. Mohammed Mainuddin is survived by 2 daughters and a host of relatives. Bangladesh Television Director General Mohammed Mahbubul Alam expressed deep sorrow at his death. Officials and employees of Bangladesh Television, including colleagues from the news department, where he served for many years, also mourned his passing. His first namaz-e-janaza was held at Btv-Chattogram Center premises after Ashr prayer. Officials and employees of Bangladesh Television and relatives of him took part in the janaza. Later, his body was taken to Chattogram, where he is expected to be laid in eternal rest. Mohammed Mainuddin joined Bangladesh Television in 1994 as a news producer. He went on pre-retirement leave on 31st December in 2024, and 31st December next was scheduled to be final day of his pre-retirement leave. Now, international news. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump have both described their meeting in Florida as great and terrific. The 2 leaders stood outside the Mar-a-Lago resort on Sunday and addressed reporters as they prepared to discuss a new proposal to end the bloody conflict. Zelensky says the 20-point peace plan is 90% agreed, while Trump says a security guarantee for Ukraine is close to 95% done. But the U.S. president also says 1 or 2 very thorny issues remain, with land still being the most difficult one. An agreement on a free, fair trade zone in Donbass is also unresolved, Trump says. On Russia, Trump says Vladimir Putin has not agreed to a ceasefire to allow any referendums to take place, something Ukraine says is essential for resolving territorial issues. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has overseen a test launch of long-range strategic cruise missiles and called for the unlimited and sustained development of his country's nuclear combat forces, according to state media. The Korean Central News Agency KCNA reported on Monday that Kim expressed satisfaction as the cruise missiles flew along their orbit set above the sea west of the Korean peninsula and hit their target. The launch, which took place on Sunday, was the latest event Kim attended in a flurry of activity by the North Korean leader to underscore the country's military and economic progress before a key party congress expected to be held in early 2026. The leader of Yemen's Houthi rebels has warned any Israeli presence in Somaliland would be considered a military target in the latest condemnation of Israel's move to recognize the breakaway region. According to a statement published by rebel media online, group's chief Abdul Malik al-Houthi says they consider any Israeli presence in Somaliland a military target for their armed forces, as it continues aggression against Somalia and Yemen and a threat to the security of the region. Israel announced on Friday that it is officially recognizing Somaliland, a first for the self-proclaimed republic that in 1981 declared it unilaterally separated from Somalia. The Houthi chief warned that the move carried grave consequences, saying that recognition is a hostile stance targeting Somalia and its African surroundings, as well as Yemen, the Red Sea, and the countries along both shores of the Red Sea. China has launched live fire drills around Taiwan, deploying air, navy, and rocket troops for war games that its military said were aimed at testing combat readiness and delivering a stern warning against separatist and external interference forces. The exercises on Monday prompted Taiwan to scramble soldiers and hardware to rehearse repelling an attack. It came amid anger in Beijing over an $11.1 billion weapons sale to Taiwan by the United States, as well as a statement by Japanese Prime Minister Sene Takaichi, who suggested that the Japanese military could get involved if China were to attack the self-governed island. Beijing considers Taiwan as part of its territory and has pledged to take control of the island by force if necessary. In a statement, the Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command said it had concentrated forces to the north and southwest of the Taiwan Strait and carried out live firing and stimulated strikes on land and maritime targets. The drills, dubbed with Mission 2025, would continue on Tuesday and include exercises to blockade the island's main ports and encircle it.